warring in the Ultramar sector yet again. The Death Guard are mounting another attack into Ultramarine held territory. So we're fighting in this industrial setup here and in the wasteland. So this mat is from deepcutstudio.com, so I'll put in the link in the description. It's one of my favourite mats of theirs. It's got loads of colour on it, loads of red rust for the Nurgle influenced Death Guard to just roam around, corrupting it even further. So let's see. Okay, so for this battle we're going to be using the open war cards for this one, so we're not going to use the last two again. So what we do is we pick a deployment map, so it's going to be almost like a hammer and anvil there, just end to end. The objective will be War of Attrition, so we'll read that in a second. And then the twist is Battle Frenzy, so that is, we've seen this one before, that is everyone on the board gets an extra attack. So we'll read War of Attrition, see what that's all about. Okay, so we've read the cards and it's sort of apt, the rivalry runs high between these forces. So we've got War of Attrition, it's basically kill points, but it's with power rating instead, so we're going to have to count that up. At the end of the game lasts for 5 rounds. So basically kill points but with power points there. And Battle Frenzy, as we say, that's +1 attack, so that'll help us with killing things on both sides. Okay, so the Death Guard won the roll off to see who chooses sides, and the Death Guard are going to be on this side of the battlefield, and the Ultramarines of course will be on the other side. So it's a straight half, so it's not like Hammer and Anvil where there's a gap in the middle, it's a straight half. So that's how it's going to be. So bit of enemies here, and the mission suits that, so we're going to see how bloody this gets. Right, we've got 2,000 points of Death Guard, added some more units to the Death Guard now, starting to see the army grow. So we've got a battalion detachment going, so we've got 3 command points for that and 3 for being battle force, so we've got 6 in total. So for HQs we've got the Lord of Contagion here, it's just as standard as you see. We've got a Malignant Plague Caster. For his psychic powers he's going to have Plague Wind, because he's got that coming out of his hand, and Putrescent Vitality as well. We've got 3 troops, so we've got the 20 unit of Poxwaters here, and we've got 2 units of 7 Plague Marines. So this unit's got 2 Blight Launchers, Power Fist, Plasma Gun. This unit's got Plasma Gun, Melter Gun, and they're going to take a ride in this Rhino, and it's got a Combi Plasma on it. Elite, we've got a lot of Elite here. We've got Terminator Squad that we've just painted up, so these have all got Combi Bolters, except the champion, he's got a Combi Plasma, and there's a Blight Launcher in there. So there's 3 Bubotic Axes, so they're pretty good, and then we've got 2 Bale Swords, which are also quite nice as well, so all Plague weapons in there. Characters, we've got a lot. We've got 3 new faces here, so we've got the Foul Blightspawn, he's got a really nasty flamer type weapon. He does some good tricks as well. We've got Plague Surgeon, he's got the Fulgurous Helm, so he's going to extend his radius. So if you're within 6 of him now, you're going to be able to reroll 1s on your disgustingly resilient rolls for infantry units. Unfortunately, it does not extend to Mortarion, even though it's in the fluff he's his personal physician, but he doesn't influence him at all. So he's going to influence everybody else though. I've also got a Tallyman, and he, if you roll a 7 on 2 dice after you've used a Death Guard stratagem, you reinstore your command point, so let's see if he can do it. He also gives you rerolls like a chaplain would if you're in his radius. So 3 new faces there. I can't say the fresh faces, probably seen better days, but there we are. I've got Bloat Drone there with the flamers on it, or the Plague Spitters. Got a brand new, what is it, been tested on the names now, the Plague Crawler, I think. It's got the cannons on the side. And then finally, of course, we've got the Mr. Man, Mortarion himself. So he will be the Warlord, of course, you just can't not have him be the Warlord. So he's got a bag of tricks, and I'm sure everyone knows all of his tricks by now. So Mortarion psychic powers, we're going for Miasma of Pestilence, Blades of Putrefaction, and Curse of the Leper. So he's lots of offence with Mortarion, as you'd expect.
So we've got 2,000 points of Ultramarines. It's a battle force, a battalion force, shall we say. It's led by this captain, and he has the Warlord trait, Adaptive Codex, as a relic, which is the 3+ invulnerable, save and deny the witch, forget what it's called, Santic Halo. Now we've got 3 units of troops there, 2 standard Marines with bolt guns, one has a missile launcher, the other one has a flamer. We have 5 scouts with sniper rifles. We've got a venerable dreadnought at the back there with a missile launcher and blast cannons, and we've got 10 Terminators, missile launcher and assault cannon in there, and then we've got 5 assault Terminators, and we've got a Land Raider Crusader, and it's got a melter, stone bolter and a killer missile. And then we've got 3 characters. We've already mentioned the captain. One of them's Sergeant Kronos, he'd be riding the Crusader, and we have a lieutenant with the jump pack and an axe, power axe.
Right, both sides have deployed now, and it's ended up like this. So there's the Ultramarines, there's the Death Guard, so they're basically nose to nose already. Because both sides have half the table each, in open war you only need to be 3 inches away, so the first unit that went down was the Poxwalkers right on the centre line, and the Ultramarines just decided to stare them down, and then one thing led to another and it escalated and nobody wanted to blink, so already it's nose to nose. So the Ultramarines did finish deploying first, so they will get a +1 to the dice roll to see who goes first, but this is a who blinks first game, this one. The Ultramarines do have the 10-man Terminator unit in the Teleportorum. We've got the captain, the assault Terminators and the lieutenant with the jump pack in this Land Raider ready to strike. The Dreadnought is behind, ready to go in, and the Death Guard have got all their heavy hitters at the front as well. It's just, the only thing we can explain is there's just been a smoke rolling in of Nurgle plague, and it's just been so thick. Both sides haven't been able to see each other until they're already fronted up. So it's going to be added to an already what should be a bloody game. Nose to nose already. It's going to be desperate to see who gets the first turn here. And yes, I agree. It is the most insane start to a game ever. Right, here we go then. So it's a dice roll off. Ultramarines get a +1 to the dice roll, and it's Nurgle dice versus Ultramarine dice. So here we go. It's a 6 for Nurgle, that's good. Ultramarines get a 5, goes to a 6. So re-rolling, come on, it's a 3, Ultramarines get a 3, this is so tense. Try again, 5, that's a confident 5 there. Oh no, it's a 6. Ultramarines will go first unless we can steal the initiative here. This is what we need to do, come on lads. Oh, 5, close, right, Ultramarines will go first in what should be a ridiculous bloodbath here. Right, Ultramarine turn 1, ultra aggressive. What's gotten into them? So all of the Space Marines just take 1 step forward, that's all they need. The Land Raider spits out the assault squad, 4 Thunderhammers in here, pair of lightning claws on the sergeant. They're going to go toe to toe with their rivals, the Nurgle Terminators, and then the big Terminator squad lands here. The captain gets out the Land Raider with the lieutenant, so they're going to offer re-rolls to anyone who will listen. Scouts stay still, and this rocket stays still, although the squad just takes 1 forward step. So, massive shooting phase here. It's just an all or nothing game. This seems like it's going to be swift and bloody. Whoever comes out on top, who knows. Okay, so the Dreadnought will be the first to fire. He's going to fire at Mortarion, and he did shuffle out a little bit, so he has moved. So 2 las cannon shots, normally hitting on 2s, needing 3s in fact. Can reroll 1s, those U's are 1s on those dice. Just 1 hit. So needing a 3 on Mortarion, gets it. Right, Mortarion's got a 4+ invulnerable save. Does not make it. What we're going to do is going to use a command point to re-roll that, because we can't allow las cannons to hurt us. Gets it. Right, it was worth it in the end. So we spent our first command point just to try and lessen the damage, and then there's a missile launcher from the Dread on a 3. That's a 5, so hits, and then wounds on a 4. Gets it. And he saves again. His invulnerable saves are working. Right, moving on to this squad of Ultramarines here. There's a missile launcher who didn't move, and they're going to play a flak missile on top of that. So you select a flying unit. Mortarion is such a unit. So on a 2+, Mortarion will suffer D3 wounds. So here he goes. Hitting on a 2, gets it. So it's D3 mortal wounds for Mortarion. That's just a 1.
Command reroll that one.
Right, command reroll. So it's still just 2. Oh well, it went up by 1, should I say. So, no invulnerable save, just disgustingly resilient. We'll make 1, fail 1. So, Mortarion takes his first wound. Right, the bolt guns rapid fired into Mortarion. Reroll them 1s to hit and to wound. Came up with 7 wounds on Mortarion. That's save on 3s. Oh, just failed 3. So, disgustingly resilient is going to have to help us out. And it does on 1. So, taking another 2 wounds. If only the surgeon worked on him there. He is within range, but it doesn't work on him. He's taken 3 wounds this round so far. Right, so we're going to see if the Ultramarines get the command point back for the flat missile on a 5. No, and then the command point reroll on yes, so they get 1 command point back. So they've got 5 now. Right, this squad now fires a flamer at the Terminator, save it. Only got 1 shot out of it, and then the bolters are fired at Mortarion. Same deal, same reroll 1s for hits and wounds. Again, 7 wounds on Nurgle. Well, it is Nurgle's number. 7 wounds on Mortarion. So we'll do better this time. We've only failed 1. Disgustingly resilient. Fails, right, so we're hitting our 4th wound there. Slowly getting chipped away. Right, the Terminators now, they're going to fire more bolter shots into Mortarion. But first, we've got the Cyclone missile launcher. So 2 shots. And it's hitting on 4s because it counts as moving. So 1 hit and needing a 4. Nope, that's a 3. Really hard to read these dice.
It's a 4.
That's a 3. No, it's a 4. I hate these dice. Right, so there's a 4. Does work. Right, so needing to save on invulnerable 4 for Mortarion. Does not do it, so D6 damage for Mortarion. And 5 wounds go his way. Disgustingly resilient. We'll make 1, fail 4, so he's slowly dying. Right, assault cannon now, so 6 shots again, needing 4s. Okay, I'll let you work that out because obviously I can't read Roman numerals on the quick. So 3 hits, needing 5s. So get 2. Right, here we go then. So 2 saves on 4s because he's only got 3+ save, and then -1, but we do get those saves. Right,
Stormbolters.
Loads of Stormbolters now. Right, so all the Stormbolters weren't within rapid fire range, but still very formidable. So rerolling 1s to hit and wound. Guess what? 7 wounds on Mortarion. So Nurgle isn't favouring Mortarion. 7 wounds each time on these bolt guns. So 3s to save, and he fails 3. Disgustingly resilient. And we failed 2, so we've lost another 2 wounds. So there's 10 wounds on Mortarion this round. So we've only got 8 left, I believe. Right, we're going to do the sniper rifles now. 5 shots from these, so hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. And make them all. Any 6s are mortal wounds. And no 6s luckily, but there are no 5s either. Really hard to read those dice, I hate them. Right. Nope, so no damage on Mortarion there. But still, there's pretty much absorbed most of the firepower there. There's still the Land Raider to go. And this has got Kronos in, so it is incredibly frightening. Right, the captain fires his Stormbolter. He was within rapid fire range, and he's put 3 wounds on Mortarion, just getting 5s to wound all the time here. So 3s to save. Mortarion makes them this time. Right, so is it now time for Kronos to tune up the band? Here he goes then. Right, so Kronos is going to fire his multi-melter first, so he is within 12. Hits on a 2, gets it, so needing a 4 to wound. Does not wound. That's a 2. Right, the Hurricane Bolters and the Stormbolter on the top fire at Mortarion. There's 12 wounds that will have to save on 3s. That's bad. And see, there's 5. We have to disgustingly resilient. And makes 2, fails 3. So we've got 5 wounds left on Mortarion now. Right, we're going to do the double assault cannons. This is 12 dice. Going to hit on 2s with Kronos. And doesn't need any rerolls, gets them all. And now wounding on 5s. Been doing really well on the wounding. Let's see if this keeps going. So 5s. So reroll 1s because of the lieutenant, so that does convert. And looks like a lot of wounds he's going to have to try and deal with here.
3, 6,
7. Just 6, not 7 this time. Okay, so AP -1 to save on 4s this time for Mortarion. He's only got 5 wounds left. He's probably going to die. Right, we've saved 3. And we've got 3 disgustingly resilient. Save 1. He's taken another 2 wounds. So he's got 3 wounds left now. Okay, so that's the end of the Ultramarine shooting phase. Mortarion took all that bolter shots. He's only got 3 wounds left. This is the thing about Mortarion. He just takes all of the shots. I wish he wouldn't. Wish he would just spread the love around the army, but he just is public enemy number 1. And it's now time for assaults. But these assault terminators ready to go in on these terminators, it looks like, and these Marines are ready to go in on these poxwaters probably. We'll see how this works. Alright, so this is how the charges look. Everyone made the charge, so these terminators go in on the Blightlord terminators, yeah. This unit goes in on the poxwaters. So does this unit, goes all the way down there, and the captain even makes a long charge, and the lieutenant jumps over everybody and he gets in as well. And we do heroic interventions, so we did actually be able to get Mortarion in within an inch of this guy. Luckily, we've gone through the morass of poxwaters. Did a heroic intervention with the plague surgeon here, and a heroic intervention with the Lord of Contagion. There we go, getting all the words wrong. So the trick here is these Ultramarines would all go first because they're on the charge, but the Foul Blight Spawn, that's his name, there he is. If you're within 7 of him, you're counting as not charging, so it's going to act like a normal combat. So Ultramarines will trigger a unit, then the Death Guard and so on. So anyone within 7 of him, that affects, so that's everybody in this massive scrum down in the centre. It's just insane. The Ultramarines are triggering this unit of Terminators to fight first, the Assault Terminators, on these guys. Let's see how they do. Right, so before anything goes down, Mortarion is going to do his Host of Plagues. Because he's only got 3 wounds left, it's only triggered on a 6, unfortunately. So this unit on a 6, take D3 mortal wounds, no. Captain, no. Lieutenant, no. This unit here, no. Terminators, come on. No, so no Host of Plagues there. He's just been whittled down to his last 3 wounds. He's 1/3 the man he used to be, and that's the effects. Right, the Terminators fight first then. The Nurgle Terminators showing their durability. Not very good for the hits with the Thunderhammers, even with rerolling 1s in both wounding and hitting. Only kill 1, and that was down to the Lightning Claws. So it's time for Death Guard to trigger a unit. Right, so where there used to be 10 tacticals, Mortarion swings that silence and slays them all. All 10 go down. He did drop a lot of attacks because he's wounded, but that was enough. Terrible saving from the Ultramarines there, and they are now no more. So we were incredibly lucky we were able to do that. The heroic intervention in the first place, and that's really paid off. So 10 Ultramarines just disappear. So the Ultramarines looking like they were just about to just bully the Death Guard, and it's not looking that way. These Terminators have failed on their opportunity, and that squad's now gone. So what else have they got? Who's going to be triggered next? Okay, so the tacticals on the poxwaters. Okay, the Ultramarines trigger the tactical unit now, and the faltering only killed 2 poxwaters. The Plague Surgeon repairing a few, being able to reroll disgustingly resilient, so the Ultramarines banked it all in the shooting. They're really slipping in the combat here, so I think we will trigger I think we'll trigger the poxwaters to fight. Let them have a go. Right, the poxwaters have fought now, and they've fought different units here, but at the end didn't do any wounds on the tactical unit, but we did put a wound on the captain and the lieutenant, so they had eyes for those guys. So how that happened was Mortarion bringing their toughness down to 3, everybody within 7, so he's still working, although he's hobbling around because he's so damaged. He's still benefiting the army here, so the poxwaters are doing well just on those wounds, and then the tallyman getting them to reroll failed hit rolls was working quite nicely. So all these characters working together with him is the key guy. He's stopped all these charging units fighting first. He's given them all rerolls, and he's keeping the poxwaters alive, so it's worked really well so far, dare we say. But we've now got the captain to fight, or the lieutenant, so who's it going to be?
Do the captain.
Okay, so the captain, he's going to cut down some zombies. Alright, the captain, we're going to give him the honour of fighting here. So he's got 4 attacks. He's only got a power sword, he hasn't got the relic blade. But he's hit them all. Wound on 3s. Rerolling 1s because of the lieutenant next to him, egging him on. Right, so there are 4 wounds to save on the poxwaters, saving on 5s. Oh, see, this would be disastrous. Well, not disastrous, but we'll get reroll these 1s because of the Plague Surgeon just standing there. Right, we'll get 1 save. So we've lost 3. Could have been worse. So the Plague Surgeon doing more work for us. Okay, so it's our turn to fight. We're going to fight with the Plague Surgeon. He can only fight the tacticals. That's who he heroic intervention on. So we're hitting on 3s. And we do get to reroll failed hit rolls because of the tallyman. So all egging each other on. And then that will be a miss, but I get a +1 to hit because he's against Astartes. So that's a hit, and because we get a +1 to hit, a 5 becomes a 6. So that's 2 Death to the False Emperor rolls. And we miss, but the tallyman's going to help us out again. We get another one, and then that is a miss, but then I get a +1 because the Astartes, so he's hit them all. So this guy is not just a medic, he's a fighter. So he's strength 4, it's basically a power sword. Against strength 4, but because they're in range of Mortarion, they drop down to 3, so we're actually wounding on 3s, and then we get a +1 to the dice roll because the Astartes that he's fighting, and he wants the gene seed. So we'll get reroll 1s because of plague weapon, and there we go. So yeah, in fact no, we'll have to reroll these 2s. It's very complicated. We have to reroll these 2s because Mortarion's warlord trait is reroll failed wounds for plague weapons, so they convert anyway, so lots of rules acrobatics going on there. Right, so these all wound then. That's 5 wounds. It's AP -3, so it's like a power sword. So 7 on 6s for 5 wounds. Makes 1, but there's 4 dead. Cut down in the prime. Right, Plague Surgeon proving that he's not just a medic there. So he's stolen the gene seed of 4 Ultramarines. How does that make you feel?
Siphoned.
Deadly. So it's just the lieutenant to fight for the Ultramarines now. He's fighting the poxwaters. That's who he charged. So he has 4 attacks, I think.
Does he?
Let's give it a check. Right, he's actually got 3 attacks. It's the Primus lieutenant who has 4. So he's 3 attacks with that power axe, and he's rerolling 1s. So he's only hit once. Scratch that. He's hit them all because he's got a better weapon skill. So he's strength 5, so he's needing 3s against these poxwaters. Rerolls 1s. Right, so he's got all 3. So it's just straight to disgustingly resilient rolls, and we don't get any. Right, so there's another 3 poxwaters drop down. Right, the Lord of Contagion is going to fight these Terminators now, so he's got 4 attacks. And he hits on 2s, he's got them all. And not only that, he's got a 6, so that's Death to the False Emperor. And he's converted that one as well. So he is strength 7. Excuse me. But because these are in range of Mortarion dropping their toughness by 1, we're going to be wounded on 2s. And it's a plague weapon, so we'll get a reroll reroll 1s even. So there's 5 clean hits on those Terminators. So Storm Shield saves, and because there's only 4 of them, just make 4 saves of 3. Right, so there's 2 lost, and then another Storm Shield to save, because they've saved 2 out of 4. There's 1 more to go. So do another one on 3 plus. Gets it, right, so he's lost 2. Right, so 2 Terminators are dead, because that is damage 3, just slays 2 outright. So we've got the Blight Lord Terminators to fight now. These are no joke. So we've got 3 axes to fight, and the champion's got an extra attack. So we've got rerolls to hit because of the Talisman. We've got a -1 to wound. They've got a -1 to their toughness rather, because they're in range of Mortarion. And we get a reroll all failed to wound rolls because the plague weapons and Mortarion is in range. So pretty much rerolls across the board here. So hitting on 3s. We're going to need those rerolls as well. Okay, so we've got 1 conversion, and it's a Death to the False Emperor, which we get another nice 6. Right, so these are strength 5 against toughness 3 now, so we're going to need 3s to wound. Plague weapon. Okay, no. Right, so Blight Lord Terminators, any 6s that you roll become a further AP -1. So these are AP -3. Doesn't really matter because the Storm Shields. And these are AP -2. So do the AP -2 ones first. So you're taking these on your Storm Shields. Right, so it saves a 3. 1 slips through the net there. And then you might as well just do all these together on your invulnerable 3s. So there's another Terminator dead, because that is now 2 wounds. So another Terminator drops down. Right, we've got Bill Sword to fight now. He's got 2 attacks. He rerolls, fails to hit rolls. Nope, so he's missed that. And then the Death to the False Emperor. He's missed, but he gets a reroll because of the Talisman. And he finally hits, right? So, wounding on 3s because their toughness has gone down. It is just a power sword almost. So, we're actually wounding on... No, that'll do, I think. Right, so 3s to save. It's all rulesy now. So he saves, right. So we've got to the bottom of that. All those modifiers and all that acrobatics, we've finally reached the end of the combat. And it looks like the Death Guard have easily repelled that Ultramarines attack. It was not something that we're expecting. Okay, so that is the end of the Ultramarines' turn. And everything happened in that turn there. It was just dice flying everywhere. So Mortarion's down to his last 3 wounds. And then the Ultramarine attack was faltered all by this guy here. He was extremely important to that happening, not letting them all go first. What a star he is. And then all the other characters working together have repelled that Ultramarines attack, we think. So done morale checks, nobody runs away. The Poxwaters are brainless, these only took 1 casualty. Terminators are fine, and so are the Tacticals. So it's going to be a real grind, that fight. So it's on to Death Guard turn 1. Could this game even go past 2 turns? I don't know. Right, so it's the start of the turn for Death Guard. Before we do anything, we need to do Nurgle's Gift because the Lord of Contagion demands it. So anyone who's within an inch of a unit who's within 7 of him is going to take a mortal wound. So the Poxwaters are going to trigger that on the Captain. So on a 4+, he takes a mortal wound. Captain takes a mortal wound. The Lieutenant, he does not take a mortal wound. This tactical unit takes a mortal wound, so one of those is dead. The Terminators themselves, they do not take a mortal wound either. Right, so movement phase, nothing much goes on. The Blood Drone comes down from here. We're going to try and tie up this Land Raider if we can. This Rhino over here, this quiet Rhino, swings round, just going to keep our opportunities open. This unit steps forward. This stays still. Mortarion just swings round a little bit because now we're going to do our psychic phase. So we're going to do Curse of the Leper onto the nearest unit within 14, which is the Captain. And this passes on a 7. Let's see if we can do it. It's a perils, he might even kill himself in the process. But there we go. At least he's not going to deny it, because he can deny the Witch with the Santic Halo, but can't get better than a 6/6. So he's going to perils. So D3 mortal wounds on Mortarion. Please don't kill yourself. He's not going to kill himself, but would get disgusting resilience. And he's taken 2 wounds. So he's now on his last wound, because he's perils himself almost to death. But Curse of the Leper, what it means is we roll 7 dice and each dice that exceeds his toughness is a mortal wound. So he's actually toughness 3 because he's within proximity of Mortarion. So on 4+, he's going to take mortal wound. Oh, and that wasn't worth it whatsoever for that perils. He's taken only 2 wounds. So the Terminator isn't even dead. Right, well, we should have used a command point to reroll that, but we didn't, so there we go. We're going to do another psychic power. I'll tell you what, we're just going to smite him with Mortarion. If we're perils here, then we're just going to cry. Doesn't perils, it's a 10. He's going to have to get an 11 or 12 on his Sonic Halo to beat this. Doesn't do it, right, so that's going to go through. So it's smite, D3 mortal wounds on the captain. Takes 2. I think that is the end of the captain. He's now on 6 wounds. Right, so actually, going to rewind a second. We're going to give him the chance to re-roll this command dice. See if it can block and deny the witch, because it didn't give him a chance to re-roll it. So he's got a 5. He's going to need a 6 to stop this happening. Doesn't do it, right, so he's wasted a command roll and the captain is dead. So there we are, the captain is dead. Almost killed ourselves in the process, but you just don't know what's going to happen. Mortarion. He's a hard luck character, but not as hard luck as that Terminator captain, who just now is just a glob on the floor. Right, moved on to the shooting phase. So we've had plasma gun on the Rhino, and this squad here with the blight launchers and plasma gun and bolters managed to kill 2 Terminators, which was pretty good. And then the blink burst crawler fires the weapons at the Dreadnought. Only managed 2 wounds on it. That venerable rule kicking in for it there. The blood drone always does well to kill the 5 scouts who are standing there, so they're out of the way now. And I think it's just onto assaults now. So we're going to assault the Land Raider with the blood drone, see if we can just take it out of action for a turn before we succumb to the damage, probably. So Overwatch to be had. Right, the blood drone makes it into the combat, dances through all the Overwatch. Even used a command reroll to try and get that lucky melter shot, but it's not happening. The Ultramarines are on the back foot now. So he gets in, needed a command roll to even get a 5-inch charge, but we got there in the end. This unit tried and failed, so really we're just looking to silence that for a turn, which looks like we're on track for doing. So it's on to combat, and I think we might be able to mop this up now. So here we go, see what happens here. Right, so the Bloodtron will fight first and puts actual 3 wounds on the Land Raider, so he did really well. And then we did the first fight of the infantry here, so we've got the Terminators killed this last Storm Shield guy, didn't have enough attacks to put away the Sergeant, so he still stands. So it's the Ultramarines to fight now. Who will they fight?
So the Marines.
So the Tactical Marines are going to go on the Poxwalkers then. Mm-hmm. Right, the Marines fight have killed 4 Poxwalkers. So we're going to fight back now. We're going to do the Lord of Contagion, because he's still within an inch of this guy, so he's going to fight before he can't fight. Right, Lord of Contagion gets 4 hits, even the Death of the False Emperor, 5 hits, 5 wounds, 5 wounds to save on 6s for these tacticals. Oh, we get 1. So 4 die, there's still 1 hanging on. Right, the Lord of Contagion then piles into the Lieutenant, so the Lieutenant can fight, and he's going to fight the Lord of Contagion, so he's got 3 attacks.
3 attacks,
yeah. And he's hitting on 2s, so he gets them all, and then he's wounding on 4s. Rerolls 1, so he just gets 1.
Command reroll.
Okay, command reroll. No, still stays at a 3. So just 1 on the Lord of Contagion, and it's a power axe, so it's AP -2.
Get that one.
And he saves on his Cataphracti armour. So the fight continues. Right, finish off the fight to the Poxwalkers, and they put a wound on the Lieutenant, but don't manage to kill the Sergeant. Probably should have played the Dead Walk Again stratagem, but we just haven't. So the Plague Surgeon couldn't fight. He's not within an inch of anyone to fight, unfortunately, now. So he doesn't fight, but that is the end of the combat. The Land Raider fought this and missed all hits, so that is the end. We've got to do morale checks, see what happens here. Right, morale checks are good. Everyone passes, as you can expect from the Ultramarines. And now we hand over to them. Ultramarines turn 2, so the fighting in the phone booth continues, just toe to toe, nose to nose. The Terminators go forward 5. There's not much left for the Ultramarines, but they're still very potent. Yeah, so they go forward. The Land Raiders stay in there because the Terminators are probably going to try and finish this off in combat. Dreadnought stays still. He's the one that's probably going to knock that final wound off Mortarion. Forgot to do Mortarion's explosion Nurgle gift at the start of the fight phase, but hey, you forget things sometimes. So onto the Ultramarines. They're going to do some shooting and see what they can do about it. Right, so onto shooting then. So the heavy weapons for the Terminators, they're going to shoot at the Death Guard unit down here, but the bolt guns are going to go onto Mortarion. They will reroll 1s because the Lieutenant is still with us. So there's we've got 28 shots of bolt guns coming at Mortarion. Not going to be cool. Right, so 28 shots, 6 wounds have found their way onto Mortarion. He's going to have to save every single one of these to survive. So 3s, he's dropped 2. Needs disgustingly resilient on both, or we are history. Oh, failed them both on a double 1. So Mortarion's down. If only that Plague Surgeon could help him out, but he can't. So, Putrid Demise. Let's see if Mortarion goes up in a cloud of horrible smoke on a 4+. He does. So it's all units within 7. Unless you've got the Nurgle keyword, you're going to take D3 mortal wounds. So that's a lot of units. Okay, so Mortarion explodes in a spiteful rage. If only we didn't perils earlier on, he might have weathered that, but he's dead now. So D3 mortal wounds on this guy, so that means he's dead even if we roll a 1. This guy, D3 mortal wounds for him. So he's taken 2. How many wounds have Lieutenant's got? So Lieutenant's only got 4, so he's succumbed to the Mortarion blast. Even this Terminator is within range. D3 for him, so he takes 1. I think we might just re-roll that. I think we're going to use a command re-roll to re-roll that. No, it still takes 1 wound. So we've still got 3 command rolls left, but he survives with 1 wound. Alright, so the missile and the assault cannon go at the Plague Marines here. Fail to hit. Hitting on 4s after you've moved off the Terminators is a real big hindrance for them, and just everything goes astray. Not as bad as the Dreadnought though. He fires his las cannons and missile at the Rhino. Doesn't get anything. Hits with the las cannons, saved on a 6, then missed with the rocket. So not to be, and this is still in combat. The Terminators have now got some hard choices after that explosion of Mortarion. He's taken out 2 of those characters that might have held up this posse here, but Terminators are going to have to choose. Right, the Terminators go in. They've gone in against the Lord of Contagion and the Poxwaters. Only got a 6-inch charge, so only a few are going to be able to fight the Lord of Contagion. Can't do any heroic interventions this time because they're too far away. They've done a good charge this time. So Terminators will fight first, but that's only because they're the only thing to fight. Because the Foul Blightspawn, again, he's going to deny that charging ability, so it's just straight up pick a unit backwards and forwards. That Foul Blightspawn, he's really doing well. Really like that guy. Alright, so we've got 4 Power Fists fighting the Lord of Contagion here. So 8 attacks, hitting on 4s because of Power Fists. No rerolls this time.
No.
Right, there's 5 hits, needing 3s to wound because toughness 5. Right, he skips 1, but there's 4 solid blows landed right in his cranium. Let's see if these Cataphract armor kicks in on a 4. Saves 2 of them. We're going to use a command reroll to reroll this. Gets it, right, so only take 1 hit, so that's D3 damage for him. And it's 2, so he's taking 2, which we get the disgustingly resilient. And we get reroll 1s because we're within range of the surgeon. So we're just going to take 1 wound in the end of it, but there's still 2 chain fists to fight him. They can fight. So 2 attacks each and 4s to hit. Not good. They've missed every single one.
Command roll 1.
So command roll's been spent thick and fast here.
No.
Still misses.
Is that a difference?
Lord of Contagion is reigning supreme. Only takes 1 wound in that exchange. What a hero. Right, so the Terminator and the Sergeant, they fight the Poxwaters and only kill 2 or 3 in the end. So disappointing for the Terminators. Thought it was going to be a big round for them there, but the Lord of Contagion just shuts the door. Alright, so the Blight Lord Terminators, they retaliate, kill the last remaining Terminator. We're not consolidating any closer, we're just going to linger there, see what our options are next turn. The Land Raider then fights the Bloat Drone, actually gets 2 solid hits, but we save on our invulnerable saves. Very nice. So now it is all Death Guard, so it's the Lord of Contagion to fight and the Poxwater. So I think we'll fight with the Lord of Contagion first. Let's do it, let's get it on camera. It's good. 4 attacks. He's hit them all. And he's wounding on 3s this time, not 2s, because Mortarion has left us. So we've got 2 solid blows on the Terminator. It's going to have to save on 5s. So 1 saves, 1 doesn't, because 3 damage, he slays a Terminator. Okay, so that is the end of the fight phase. Had the Poxwaters fight, nowhere near as effective anymore. That the Mortarion's not dropping their toughness down and just not happening for them. So 1 Terminator is slain because of the Lord of Contagion, but that is it. That is the end of the Ultramarines' turn, and they are rapidly running out of units. All of a sudden, that massive attack is looking pretty weak. Right, so before we do anything, it's Nuggles gift time. So we've got this unit be Nuggles gift on a 4. No, and then the Bloat Drone on the Land Raider. Yes, the Land Raider takes a mortal wound.
Thank you.
Okay, so movement for the Death Guard. So we've had a reshuffle around here, so the characters are ready to go in. The Foul Blightspawn, he runs. He's got an assault weapon, and it is a strong weapon. This could, by himself, take out the Dreadnought, so we'll see what he does. It's a 9-inch range automatic hit, so the assault weapon could be deadly. This unit steps forward. We're going to try and get in on the Land Raider. These have a reshuffle. Going to get some shots at the Dreadnought as well. These get out. Going to have shots at the Dreadnought, just as usual. And the Malefic Plaguecaster, it's him. It's now time for him. So he's going to do Plague Wind on these Terminators. See what happens. So that comes off on a 6. Can't deny that. There's no one around to deny it. So what we do is we roll dice for each guy in the unit. So there is 7. So it would have to be 7. Alright, 7 in the unit. So any 6s are mortal wounds. Oh, look at that. 3 wounds on those Terminators. So 1 Terminator dead and a wound on another. Right, so that is just 1.5 Terminators dead. We only rolled a 6 to pass that, so no Pestilential Fallout. But now we're going to try and smite. So that comes off on a 5, so still no Pestilential Fallout, but D3 mortal wounds for them. It's a full 3, right. So that is actually 3 Terminators dead in the end. Deadly stuff. Right, so the Foul Blightspawn is going to fire the Plague Spray. It's deadly stuff, so we're selecting this as a target, so we'll roll for strength. And it's going to be strength 11. Absolutely outrageous. So 11, and then we're getting D6 shots out of it. We're getting 1, but we're going to command reroll that to try and get higher. We'll get 6. 6, strength 11. Automatic hits because it's like a flamer. So wounding on 3 still against this. And it's a plague weapon, so we'll get reroll 1s. Right, so we've gotten 4 in the end, and it's AP minus 3. So this Dreadnought will save on 6s. So here we go.
4.
4, yeah. So it doesn't make any. Now this is a damage 3 weapon each, so that is actually 12 wounds. Alright, so 12 wounds put on it, but because it's venerable, 6s deny those wounds. There's a lot of 6s in there.
4, yeah.
4, but in the end,
Yeah.
the Dreadnought will succumb. That's 8, it's already taken 2, it's 10, it's more than dead. Let's see if it explodes on a 6. No, so that Dreadnought goes down quietly. There's only these 4 Terminators left, and the Land Raider, they're just getting taken to school now. Right, so with the Dreadnought going down, there's actually nothing left to shoot because this is locked in combat. Terminators are locked in combat, so it's just straight onto charges. So the Terminators have gone in on the Land Raider. These failed their charge. The Lord of Contagion's gone in on these Terminators. The Plague Surgeon's now in there, and the Sorcerer joins the fight as well. So got a lot of fighters in there, a lot of characters to really put these Terminators through it. And here we go. We're going to see what happens here. Right, so charging units going first. We've had the Blightlord Terminators on the Land Raider. Did Veterans of the Long War. Got 2 wounds on it. Did okay. Now we're going to do the Lord of Contagion, because those Terminators that he was in contact with were removed. He's actually been able to charge into the combat now, so he's going to go first. So he gets to reroll because of the Taliman being present. So we'll get all hit, and then we'll get Death to the False Emperor because of a 6. And he's missed. We'll get a reroll because of the Taliman. Just so many rerolls, but he's duffed it anyway. So 4 hits, 3s to wound. Reroll 1s because of Plague Weapon. We're needing 3s. So we'll get 1 and only 1. So 7 on 5 and gets there. So Lord of Contagion. Could have done better. Right, Plague Surgeon. And he gets to reroll wounds. Right, so we've hit them all, and that's a Death of the False Emperor. Okay, it's got 4 hits in total. Right, so needing 4s to wound Terminators, and because he's fighting the starters, he gets a +1 to the dice roll, so those are good. So these are all good. So there's 4 wounds and the AP -3, so he's saving on 5s again, getting vulnerable 5s.
1 death. 1 wound.
Yeah, 1 wound. That's doing really well on saves. And then it's the Sorcerer now. Right, so 3 attacks from the Malignant Plaguecaster. And he's hit them all but 1. But we do reroll that one because of the Taliman. He's missed it anyway, but we do have a Death of the False Emperor. And we hit 3 in the end. Right, so 3s to wound. And we make all but 1. So these AP -1, so he's saving on 3s for these ones.
How many?
Just 2. So 1 fails, it's D3 mortal wounds, but because the Terminator already taken a wound, it doesn't matter, it doesn't get any overspill. So 1 Terminator finally falls. So the Ultramarines are actually going to command reroll that failed armor save so he can keep the Terminator alive, and he does, right, so Terminator stays strong. Right, so that's all the charging done. Now we need to fight the Poxwaters first, before the Terminators get a chance. Right, Poxwaters are delivering the goods. 4 wounds on the Terminators. All we need is 1 to fail, and we've brought down a Terminator. And there we go, there's that fail. So Terminator drops, finally. So 3 left, and that's all we can fight in that combat there. Right, so because the Poxwater felled the Terminator, the Poxwalker is returned to the unit. Alright, so we've got 2 Chain Fists, and they're fighting...
The Lord.
The both Chain Fists are fighting the Lord, right. And then the Sergeant, he's fighting the Malefic Plaguecaster. So 2 Chain Fists on the Lord, needing 4s. And they get them all, that's pretty good. And 3s to wound. So only get 3. And 7 on 4s. Oh, they'll all go through, that is not good news. We're going to have to use our last command roll to try and save one of these. No, they'll all go through. That's 6 damage in total because each Chain Fist is 2 damage. We might have them killed here, this is not good. So 5s. Right, we saved 2. And then we'll get real 1s because of the Plague Surgeon. Right, we've spared ourselves another 1, so he's taken 3 wounds. He's already taken 1 wound in the battle. So he's got 2 wounds left. He's actually survived that. That was uncanny. Right, Terminator's still fighting hard here, so we've got the Sergeant, 3 attacks rather on the Sorcerer. Gets all 3, not messing around now. 5's to wounds, so there's 1 wound, sorry. 7 on a 6, no, and then Disgustingly Resilient. Gets his Disgustingly Resilient, so he blocks that one. Right, so we've just got the vehicles to fight. So the vehicles fight, he had a good effort at the Land Raider, but no damage. The Land Raider tries to fight the Terminators and misses, so doesn't squash them. So here we go. That's the end of turn 2, and there's not much left. This game has been as bloody as I thought it was going to be. Okay, the Ultramarines are just going to fight hard. They're not going to move. The Land Raider's just going to stay in combat. Even if it dropped out of combat, it just would have got harassed over and over again by the Bloodthrone. It's what it does best. So the Terminators are going to fight. So same targets again. So Chain Fists on the Plague Lord. All but one, because they hit on 4s.
Yeah.
So 3s to wound. Could this be his final hour? All wound, right. Got no command rerolls left to try and save him here. So 4s for the Cataphracti armour. Ooh, no, he's failed 2. Which means he's going to have to save on his disgustingly resilient. And he doesn't get it. Can reroll 1s, but still not enough. Right, so the Lord of Contagion has been killed. He was on his last 2 wounds. And each one of those chain fists does 2 damage. So he's been killed finally. It's important point.
Sergeant the Sorcerer.
Yep, 3 from the Power Sword. 2 hits. 5s to wound. Just the 1. Save on a 6. Nope. Disgustingly resilient. Yes. So he's working quite nicely. Alright, the Death Guard to fight back. We've done our fights. The Land Raider's fought. Doesn't do anything. I think it was 1 wound on the Land Raider from the Blight Lord Terminators. Poxwater's fight don't do anything, but now it's time for the characters to retaliate. So we've got the Malefic Plaguecaster. He's got 3 attacks. Gets 2. Rerolls because of Taliman. No. And then we've got Death of the False Emperor, which we do get. Even on 3s with a Cursed Staff. Just the 1. It's AP -1, so saving on a 3 does not do it. Right, so it's D3 damage. Kills a Terminator. Spectacular. So he's got somebody. He's got his man. He's got that sergeant. Alright, the Plague Surgeon. He's a bit of a beast, so here he goes. Spoke too soon. Right, Tallyman rerolls. Yes. In fact, a 5 becomes a 6 because he gets a +1 to hit because of his starty, so a 6 becomes a Death of the False Emperor. And he's missed on a 2, so we got a reroll because of the Tallyman, which we hit. Okay, so 4s to wound, and then we get a Plague Weapon reroll. And we get all 4, right? He's AP -3, so saves of 5 needed. I can't tell on those dice, it's just impossible.
That's 4, that's 1, so 3 wounds.
Okay, so that's 1 Terminator dropped and 1 last wound. So 1 Terminator hangs on with a solo wound. Alright, moving on to Death Guard. Turn now. Pretty much just going to kill this Terminator. I think it's over for the Ultramarines. I've only got that Land Raider left and it's on borrowed time. It's taking a bit of a kicking, and then when all of the Death Guard units go on it, it'll probably not survive. So what we're going to do is just going to put this Terminator out of his misery. Just going to shoot him with a bull pistol here. Gets him. Gets him. If he rolls a U, then it's over, and it's over. Killed with the ball pistol to the back. That pretty much says how that game went for the Ultramarines. Big attack at the front. They're going to have to just concede because that big attack just did not happen. So the Death Guard are pretty mighty in force now, and this is all the Ultramarine casualties, just death and destruction all the way down there. So did lose Mortarian, but that's all we lost over here. Just Poxwaters, Mortarian, Terminator, and the Lord of Contagion. So we're not even going to bother adding up the power rating. That's pretty decisive. Death Guard victory. Right, we're going to do man of the match for the Death Guard. Out of the 3 characters we wanted to try, he was the most important, stopping that the charges going first. So I'm going to give it to him. He was a close second, getting re-rolls, and the Plague Surgeon was pretty beastly in combat, but his power, he took out the Dreadnought with a strength 11 attack, stopped all those guys going first on the charge. Just absolutely lethal, this guy, and he was good as well. So didn't get to use his Tallyman rule to get the Nurgle command points back, because it was a bit of a brain frying session, that one, for all the rerolls going on between those 3. But it's got to go to the Foul Blightspawn. Really impressed with him. And for the Ultramarines, it's going to go to Kronos.
Yeah.
There he is.
Gus Kronos, he stole away.
The reason,
as the Land Raider fought bravely.
yeah, there's a reason why this Land Raider didn't drop out of combat. It turns out that Kronos just walked away from the tank and just thought, I'm not having any of that.
So this for a game of soldiers.
And just walked off into the sunset. So he gets man of the match because he is the sole survivor, and he had the sense just to walk away from his Land Raider. So we've got to see the 3 Death Guard characters that we want to see, but next time it will be Typhus and the Death Shroud Terminators. Can't wait to use these guys. Death Shrouds, more importantly, to try and protect Mortarion if that comes, but got Typhus done now and the Death Shroud. We'll see those the next time.